It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
So the Phantom Orchestra Survival Guide was shared with us earlier today, and it gave us a first look, I guess, at the actual gameplay with the Maestro and his little sub-bosses, the harp and the horn. There are a lot of key features that they went over in this video, but what I thought would be interesting would be to was to take a look at the teams that were shown in this video. They flashed them through. Some of them are just thrown together for aesthetic purposes. Some of them actually have some value, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about each team because we're going to have to figure this out together. We're going to have to figure out the new team. First of all, I do find it very funny that they use the LOL Osh team, Isaac, Zhu, Nebula, Sebastian, Martha, Albus. They do use this, and it seemed to be losing this battle. It's kind of unfortunate. It's kind of funny, but it's kind of unfortunate at the same time. They do show it again later on in the video, and everybody seems to be live and being okay, but I'm not so sure that we're going to end up using the same exact team. Although I would be happy if we can be sufficient, or at least good enough, using the LOL Osh team again. That way people don't have to level anything up. So let's go through the list here. You can see a team of Galahad, Aurora, Ishmael, Ginger, and Thea. It doesn't seem to be doing well. We do have healing and control effects throughout this team, and those do work against the horn and the harp, so keep that in mind as we play through this, that we are going to need healing and control effects in order to dispel the stun that the horn does and the weaken that the harp does. This next team that's shown is an undead team: Corvus, Morgan, Dante, Kira, and Phobos. Now, it doesn't really give us much hints as to how effective this team does. It does spend a good amount of the fight on the video with the front line being stunned by the horn down here. Not a ton of healing in here. Morgan is providing some healing, so is Phobos. And we do have a couple of control effects, so it might end up being a decent team. Undead team was one of the teams that a lot of people used in the Osh fight, so maybe people are going to go back to this line. It's hard to say. The next team that's shown is Aziri, Elmir, Daredevil, Artemis, Fox line. This team apparently does not work. You can see that basically everyone is dead aside from the tank. Kind of a bummer. Tank, you got to protect your team. Now, whenever they start going into the mechanics, this is the first team that they actually show doing something. You have Kayla Aiden here with Galahad, Iris, and Dorian. I like this setup a lot. You have some control effects, but really, it really depends on what control effects are referring to. I'm not 100% sure how this whole removal mechanic is going to work. It says dispelled by control effects. I'm assuming it means use any control effects to disable the harp weaken effect. It really depends on the specific mechanics, and I think it will matter based on the different heroes, but there are a ton of popular heroes here. I think the one hero that maybe a lot of people don't level up out of this group is Kayla, and a lot of the new servers are leveling up Kayla. I think Galahad is one of the top heroes that people use in Osh fights, and everyone has leveled up a little bit. Aiden, Iris, and Dorian are all incredible heroes that I know a ton of people in my server use, a ton of people on a lot of servers use. This could be one of the opportunities. One of the things that we're going to have to deal with here, though, is not just having the correct team, but having the mechanics and the timing of the fight down. This isn't a fight that you can just go in and click auto, despite the fact that you can see that it is clicked auto on the little button here. You are going to want to play this fight manually because of the flipping back and forth between the material and the astral plane mechanic. Very interesting. This is the first team that we're going to be looking at. Next, we have Mushy and Shroom. We have Satori, Kai, Nebula, and Thea. Now, we have a couple of heroes here that can do healing. You have a little bit of vampirism as well. Thea, Nebula can do healing. Kai has vampirism. Mushy and Shroom and Satori both going to benefit from healing. Obviously, Mushy and Shroom's branching mycelium and his clones are their clones and all of that. You also have a number of control effects in this line as well. You have some stuns, you have some silences, you have some energy removal with Nebula. I think that this could be another team to look at. Unfortunately, only Nebula is going to be one of the heroes that a lot of people are going to have leveled up out of this comp. I know a lot of individual heroes in this team are very strong. Satori has been an incredible hero for many, many years. He's just kind of fallen off a little bit with the prevalence of Isaac and Sebastian. Mushy and Shroom being a newer tank, it's not very sexy to level tanks, although I think Mushy and Shroom has a lot of great opportunity. I am kind of surprised to see him used in this team, but using with Kai and Thea makes a lot of sense because of their synergies. This could be another huge opportunity against the Maestro and his minions. Now we have another Mushy and Shroom team here with the twins, Lars and Krista. We also have Mojo and Thea. Same deal. We have multiple heroes that can do healing and multiple heroes that can do control effects. I think that this could be another good opportunity. They're even giving you the pet options, by the way, and they definitely do make sense. You know, pure damage added to this pure damage plus physical damage focused team. You got Merlin for this magic team. You have Oliver for this team. I'm not sure why they're using Oliver here, but I'm okay with it. I mean, I get it how it interacts with Mushy and Shroom. I like that. I like the team pet Oliver here. But again, until we have the mechanics down, we don't really know what's going to happen. But Mushy and Shroom and Thea pictured again here. Mojo has always been a great boss killer because of his abilities to target a single enemy with magic damage. And it's important to note that while you're in the astral plane, the Maestro is immune to physical damage, so you're actually going to want a lot of magic damage dealing teams. Like I said earlier, it's a very strong contrast to what we've been dealing with the Osh fight. You had a heavy physical and pure damage team with the the Osh team and the Galahad lines, the Corvus lines, the Cornelius and Lara Croft teams. I like that contrast a lot. Another Mushy and Shroom line, basically the same line as before. Mushy and Shroom, Satori, this time with Celeste and Martha instead of the other heroes, Nebula and Thea. We have Celeste and Martha both doing healing. We have some control effects. Kai does vampirism, self-healing. This could be another opportunity right here. Again, heavy magic damage team. We don't really get to see the team pet for this, and you don't really see it off to the side, but I'm assuming it's probably Oliver or Merlin again. I'm seeing Satori and Kai a lot in these teams. I'm thinking maybe those two might be some heroes to level for this boss. But again, until we get into it, we won't know for sure. Now here's another interesting team. This one is more of a pure damage focused line. There is some physical damage with Zhu, but I think this one is actually showing off that you're not going to do much against the enemy with physical damage. You can see the block all over the place, but the magic damage does go through. So you have Maya, Zhu, Aiden, Jet, and Thea. Multiple healers here. Maya, Aiden, Jet, and Thea, all 4 healers. Minimum amount of control effects with this comp, but there are some that do exist. Is it enough? It's a great question. What is being blocked here? I'm thinking it's possible that maybe Maya's ability is being blocked. I'm not really clear. I know Jet doesn't hit all of these locations at once. In this part of the video, it's specifically talking about doing area of effect damage. Maya is really good at that, and I'll show you a few more teams that do that as well in just a second. No team pet here, and this is the first time that we're seeing 3 of these front 4 heroes, but we are seeing Aiden and Thea a ton. Are we going to be focusing a lot on healers? I mean, obviously healing being an important mechanic in this fight, maybe it's going to be beneficial to have a lot of really strong healers. Like in the Osh fight, it was beneficial to have a lot of really strong tanks. Remember, you needed Isaac to tank 1, you needed like Aurora or Rufus to tank another. A lot of you people used a maxed out Galahad to tank a 3rd. Alvanor, of course, was a great tank for the City of Asgard Osh fight as well. Maybe we need like 5 to 7 healers to have 4 to 5 good successful teams against the Maestro of the Phantom Orchestra. Now I'm a big fan of this team, Nebula Tank. I love Nebula Tank a lot. We have 3 healers here, Nebula, Mojo, and Thea. This is the first time we're seeing Faceless in this line, and Artemis is here. I'm not really sure what is happening here, but we have Oliver as a team pet. It looks like having Oliver, Merlin, and Albus leveled up are going to be the key pets for the Maestro fight. I'm very glad to see that Nebula is featured prominently in a lot of these teams. Nebula is one of the 5 heroes that everybody should have leveled up from the City of Asgard Osh fights, so it's good to see at least one of the 5 heroes constantly throughout all of these team options. But again, a heavy magic damage team. Mojo does a ton of single target magic damage, faceless copying and ability, plus providing some control effects, some magic defense. Artemis feels a little out of place in this line, but you know, I don't hate it. I guess the area of effect ability that she has from her ascended abilities could be very, very beneficial. We'll have to test it out when it goes live. Now, here's another magic damage plus pure damage heavy team. I think this one might have the most promise out of all of them. Mushy and Shroom again, Thea and Martha again, but this time using Heidi and Orion. A lot of people have Martha leveled up. A lot of people have Heidi leveled up, and I think Thea was very popular as well. Orion and Mushy and Shroom, great combination. I like this team a lot. I think this one plus Albus has a lot of potential. Again, I have no proof aside from just the screenshot that I have and the little clip that they showed, but they do mention again that magic damage and pure damage, as well as control effects, specifically those that do area of effect to all of the hands and the eye, I guess, for lack of a better term, as well as all of the control effects that this team can provide. I think this could be another huge opportunity. The only problem that I have with it is the other teams that I thought were a huge opportunity share some of these heroes heroes. Mushy and Shroom, Thea, and or Martha are in both or in several of the screenshots that I think are going to end up being strong teams. So you can't use them more than once. You're going to have to figure out a second team, or team 2. Maybe the Maya Zhu, Aiden, Jet, Thea is one of them, and then the other one where you're using Martha instead of Thea is the other play. Now here are a couple of screenshots that I think they just threw together for aesthetic purposes. I don't think that these teams are going to be that impactful, and the reason why I say that is the very first one, obviously they're all wearing the same skin, the solar skin or what have you. Kark he doesn't do a ton of damage against bosses. Generally speaking, Kark's knock-up or pop-up ability doesn't work on boss enemies, and that's really where his damage comes in. So you're really having him here for some stuns, maybe, which makes sense, I guess. Maybe you have him in here for, I don't really know, because he doesn't work, his physical damage doesn't really work in half the fight whenever the boss is in astral form. Dante, same deal. He doesn't really do a lot of magic damage, or pure damage for that matter, unless he's got a crit hero behind him with Sebastian, which in this video he does not. I think that this team was put together for aesthetic purposes. I do not think that this is going to be a good team to use, though having Dante and Martha in this line could give some people hope, because those are very common heroes that people have leveled up, as is Kark and Faceless for myself. Kark, Kai, Faceless, by the way, interesting trio that I'd like to see used a lot more often. But yeah, I don't think that this is going to be a good team. Now, the second team that they show for aesthetics, I think that this could actually work, though, again, I don't think so. You have Galahad, Luther, Rufus, Cornelius, and Artemis. You have a bunch of physical attacking heroes. You have multiple tanks, so your damage output is going to be low. You really don't have any healing here, aside from the self-healing that Rufus has. This is not a team that you're going to bring into this cup. It looks great, though. The blue, white, and gold looks really, really good, but you're just not going to use this team against the boss, especially that has key mechanics like healing removes this and control effects removes that, and the damage output is just going to be too low here. Without having the critical hit bonus, your script kitties that cheat with Cornelius aren't going to be able to do anything with them, especially considering that half the time the boss is immune to physical damage, which is what Cornelius's big hit is. Same thing for Artemis. Although she does do the area of effect damage, still no healing, not a good team. Here's a stellar skin team: Tristan, Marcus, Sebastian, Iris, and Fafnir. A lot of physical damage here, a lot of healing from Luther. This one could actually work depending on if you can keep your team in the, if you can keep the boss in the material plane long enough. The thing about being in the material plane the entire time is you're constantly taking physical damage. What I'm going to be interested to see is if this constant physical damage actually can be dodged. That could be huge for a dodge team if you can keep the enemy in the material plane, of course. You have some good attackers here. The one thing that you don't really have is a ton of area of effect damage. You have some massive control effects from Fafnir, and the only area of effect damage that you have really is a little bit from Luther and Iris's bitey pet. This one could work out, but I don't think it's going to. Now this team right here, I can't actually see a fifth hero in this line. I'm either missing it, or it's hidden, or it's already dead. I actually took 2 screenshots of it and I couldn't quite get it. You've got Elmir, Ziri, Maya, and Leon. We do have some healing and some control effects, and Elmir is really, really good at single target physical damage. You have some potential here depending on who the fifth hero is. I think this could be a good team. I'm not quite sure what the fifth hero is. Like I said, I took 2 different screenshots. I just can't see a fifth hero. You see there's an Elmir clone, an Elmir clone, an Elmir clone. I'm not sure who the fifth hero is here. He's got to be tucked in here somewhere. I just can't quite make out who it is. But again, the skin choices, this is an aesthetic team that was put together just for the sake of the video. I don't think this is going to end up being one of the good teams to use, but I guess it could be. You have a tank, damage dealer, healing effects, control effects. Again, you see that team pet Oliver. Now, if you want to go take a look at any of these teams, again, I did put together a blog post with every team that we've discussed in this video listed, and whether or not I think it's going to be a good or a bad team. It's going to be the first link in the description box down below. Check that out if you want to reference it. Again, I've also got all these screenshots there as well. So I hope everybody's having a great weekend. I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.